Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of SOS with Sonja Rasula. I am, of course, your host, Sonja Rasula. Today's episode is a zinger. Yes, I just used the word zinger. Okay, if you have been affected by COVID-19 and your business has gone from here all the way down to here, you are going to want to watch this episode. I talk with Emily Hope Dobkin, who is the founder of Betterish. Betterish was only 1 year old when the global pandemic hit. So her business has gone from being thriving to basically non-existent. You are going to want to watch this next episode as I talk to her about pivoting or not pivoting. I talk to her about ways to declutter her website and focus. And I also talk to her about what I think is a pretty genius business idea. Also, if you want to increase your sales and communication, stay tuned because we really dive deep into that and how she can be better communicating on her website to get more money from clients and potential customers. Let's dive in. Well, welcome to SOS. I'm super excited to have you here today. If you could tell us your name, tell us the name of your business and what it is that you do, that would be awesome.
Sure. Hi, my name is Emily Hope Dobkin, and my business is called Betterish. And it's really a platform that creatively encourages people to make better things, better relationships, and better days. And I do this through a really, well, I guess I should say pre-pandemic. I was doing this through a wide range of hands-on workshops and creative consulting and really designing interactive participatory experiences for community-based spaces and organizations. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say during the pandemic, I've really shifted that to more virtual offerings. So I've been doing more virtual company happy hours and celebrations, birthday parties. I have a graduation party tonight. So just moving that to a virtual space.
Okay, well, that's amazing that you've been able to do that so quickly. And your background is in education, right? I mean, you've been doing this.
Yeah, so my background is really in public programming. So I've worked with museums and art galleries, after school programs, and yeah, the whole gamut of public programming and education.
I loved reading all about you. It just brought a smile to my face. One of the things you say on your website is that you bring joy to people and you love, bringing positivity and creativity. And I was just like that. You can tell that right off the bat from looking at your website and looking at the work that you do. So first of all, thank you for doing that work, because I don't think, well, now in COVID-19, I think people are hopefully beginning to understand, but I don't think it's really going to hit people until this summer, that, all the work that community organizers do for the community. I don't think people are really going to truly start missing that and understanding, because they're still in I'm at home, I'm watching a lot of TV, maybe we're doing online workouts and yoga, but they haven't really thought about what a summer, for instance, if you're a family and you have kids, there's no summer camp, there's no day camps, there's no programming. That's all stuff that everyone's going to realize they took advantage of before. So I love the work that you do. It's so important.
Thank you.
I want to get into the big question that you have, which is the $1 million question. We've been recording all of season 2, and every single person has obviously been impacted by COVID, but you are really the guest that I think COVID has really, really impacted, because like your business, my business is in-person interactions. And so when I read your application, I was like, oh, this is the $1 million question. I cannot wait to help her. So what do you need help with?
So I think, Betterish, I really just got it off the ground literally a year ago. This is my first full year of really dedicating myself to it. Before, it was really just a side project. And I've worked so hard to build it up as this business, doing hands-on participatory work. And now I'm at this space where I'm where should I have direction, but I'm not sure where to focus my energy. Should I be focusing it on the pivot on these virtual offerings that I've been doing, these virtual birthday parties and happy hours, and really focus on that space? Or should I focus on, my marketing, PR, like just getting Betterish out there in any capacity? Or should I be developing the things I was developing before COVID? So I feel a bit scattered.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all do, so you're not alone.
Thanks.
I also love, I'm just going to throw this out there, on when you were telling us about yourselves, there, we asked two questions. What are your worst traits? What are your best traits as an entrepreneur? And I just want to read yours because I think that everyone listening can relate. Your best traits, you said, were that you're creative, flexible, adaptable, and open-minded, which are amazing traits to have as both a human and an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Then you said, and this one made me laugh, what are your worst traits? And you said, I can be scattered and not great at sticking to my own structures and routines, which literally is every creative author. So I thought that was funny. But also, that's great that you know your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So let's get to that question. And really, I kind of heard a few different questions in what you were just saying a minute ago. The last one that you actually asked was, do I keep moving forward as if this kind of isn't happening? So I'll move forward with my programming. And then the next was, do I concentrate on marketing? Like, is this the time that I concentrate on my website marketing, trying to get PR? And then the biggest one is, do I pivot and do I continue to pivot? And you already have, which is amazing. There's so much. I can't wait to dive in. So number one, I do not believe that this is going to go away this year. I personally, we're already hearing that there are potential vaccines that are being tested. I think I just heard that the US was going to invest in a company in England that's producing some sort of vaccine, but we don't know enough about it. So I personally think that 2020 is kind of a write-off. It's not a write-off because you can take this time to pivot, improve, do the things that, like, as business owners, we all put off. But I think in the direct answer to, should I keep creating my programming for in-person experiences? The answer to that is no.
Okay.
Right? Like for us at Unique Markets, we are not going to, and we just told all of our small business owners this, in fact, yesterday, we are not going to do any markets for the rest of the year. Even if in December, in November, it seems like there are practices that are being put out, we gather thousands of people, and I just don't think it is safe or healthy. So you're probably dealing with smaller groups, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
So there may be ways for you to continue in the fall and winter potentially, but I'm going to be perfectly honest and say, I actually see a lot of interesting potential for you in online. And I think that next year, 2021 and beyond, you, just like Unique Markets, are going to be fine, because then you're going to go back to doing all of the programming and the in-person stuff that you love so much. But in the meantime, I see huge opportunity for you. So I want to get into those opportunities with you now.
Sounds good.
So I have looked at your website and I love the creativity. I love the design. You're using a really good template, which I like, and I'm going to share the screen right now. But there is a lot that can be improved on, and don't worry, not everyone comes from a place of web design.
Yeah.
Where I came from. So I want to kind of try to understand a few things. So we're on the website right now. It's bright, it's colorful, it's creative, and it's very modern. And that it scrolls, it's like a parallax scrolling. So from side to side, there are beautiful, bright images. There's photography of you, which is great because it shows that you did a photo shoot just for this, which I love. A lot of small business owners never get their photos taken, which is strange because they're like the livelihood of the business. But it's a little confusing to me. And the reason why it's confusing to me is I don't understand what you do when I first come to the website. So right when you come to your website on the homepage, the first impression is this block of text, and it says it doesn't have to be good, it doesn't have to be the best, it's just about doing it better. This is a space that creatively encourages people to make better things, better relationships, and all around better days. Check out the offerings. And if I decide to keep scrolling, then I'll see more about you. I'll see the photography of you. I'll see your blog posts. I'll see lots more stuff. But on first impression, this is the only thing that people are going to see because you only have a few seconds to capture their attention. So they're either going to look at that and be captivated or not. And this is already a lot of text for the average person to read.
Right. Yeah.
If that had been one headline, easy to digest. But because it's 3 and then there's more writing, I think you've already lost people right there. And I want to make sure that on first impression to your homepage, you're captivating them to want to scroll and to want to click around.
Okay.
So I also am confused by, I totally get it as a mission, as a mantra, as kind of this text that describes what it is that you do and why. I think this is amazing. It needs to be on the page that's about me or about the work that I do, about us, whatever it is that you want to do. It's just that it's super confusing right when you get to the page, because what I thought in my mind was, oh, okay, check out the offerings, which is the button. The thing is, when you click to check out the offerings, what I see is a lot. I'm now looking at 8 different things. They're all very different. The photography is different. And, one thing says make things. Another says meet people. Another section says see stuff. And what I can't figure out as just your average kind of human being visiting the website is, are these things that I can buy and purchase? Is this like a DIY blog? So it's another click. So let's say the make things intrigues me. I do actually love all those pieces of paper and illustrations, by the way. It's a photo of lots of pieces of paper that she has clearly painted and illustrated, and they're all bright and colorful. And I love this photo. It says make things. From zines to printmaking, make your staff meeting, birthday party, or holiday market Betterish with a hands-on creative product. So that pulled me in. But it means I still have to do another click. So at this point, I've gone from the home page to this page and now another click. And every click that you make people do is a chance for them to get off the website. Like if this was a shopping website, most shopping websites, like you want to only be 2 clicks away from what you want as a consumer. If you're designing websites, ideally they're 1 click away. If they type in, I don't know why I thought of JCrew. It just popped into my head. If someone types in jcrew.com, JCrew knows that they need that person to be able to find sandals or nail polish or a sweater or a cardigan or something for their husband with just 1 click. So that's how you have to think about website architecture and navigation. You want people to be able to get to all this stuff with 1 click. So for me, the obvious thing is a drop-down navigation.
Okay.
But more importantly, I click to the craft, to this section of great making zines for parties, and then I see a bunch more stuff. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is it just seems to be all over the place and a little confusing.
I get that.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
It makes sense, and I can explain more in a bit, but keep going.
Perfect. And I intuitively, because I really, really went deep down the rabbit hole with looking at your website and all the pages, I intuitively know why you did this. And I know because there's still other offerings, there's a blog, there's a shop. So upon first glance, as a business owner, to you, it makes sense. But what you now need to do is figure out the average consumer and how they surf things. It's not like this. So you're going to have to put some time and energy into figuring out, okay, how do I make this make sense and click in like a second for people? So first, the word offerings on the page, we're on the offerings page right now, and it says, here are some fun offerings. Again, to me, I don't know if that means these are things that you charge for Are these just fun, free offerings? Is this a place that I can go and look for fun family projects for my kids? I'm not really sure because offerings is such a general word. So are these things that people pay for or are they free?
It's a combination of both is the thing.
Yep.
And I think another thing to mention is a lot of this, it's like I entered basically the whole bottom row that you're seeing.
Yep.
It's basically all things that I've started during the pandemic. So it used to just really be, the top 4 things, but I just like literally probably like 3 weeks ago just added these things on the bottom, and I know it doesn't even look straight.
So this is what's interesting. So what she's talking about for all of those people listening to the podcast is there's a bottom row that is all the photography is red and white and all the graphic design is red and white. It is very cohesive and it makes a lot of sense. It's Meetful Mondays, virtual birthday parties, and company happy hours, and then creative consulting. I love those offerings so much. What is confusing is that is on the bottom, and what's on the top of that page is the make things, meet people, see stuff, create spaces. That's what's creating the confusion. So if I were you, I would have like company, you have to figure out whether it's like company offerings, company sessions, or it's just all your virtual interactive, opportunities. Go through and write words that pop out that make sense to you, that describe what those things are. I love virtual because most people now, that's a word that's been used over and over in the press currently right. too. So online or virtual. But that to me is like a completely separate, that's its own page.
Okay.
Because this is an opportunity for you to make money and help bring like joy and creativity to companies and to people and, perhaps a birthday party. This is really cool and really unique. And I don't know of other people doing this kind of work, which is really interesting. So I think that needs to be like, you need your own page for that. And after the pandemic, when you may go back to your old programming and old work, you simply just like delete this page then. If it doesn't serve you later, you delete something. But currently, I believe that should also be what is on your homepage. Okay. You should be talking about those things like right front and center.
Okay. Just posing them as virtual offerings or virtual interactive somethings.
Yeah. I really think there's something to the idea, like maybe you even on your homepage, we're looking at it right now on the screen, maybe you just need to have big, bold lettering that says like, let me bring joy and creativity to you and your company during the pandemic. Like okay. Something that is so, you don't want people to guess.
Right.
You don't want people to not be sure. And if you make a statement like that, and potentially if you have clients that have used your services, have them give you a 1-sentence review or a testimonial. And yeah. That should, you scroll on the website and you see testimonial right there. If you've worked with any companies that are like recognizable, then you put their logo and say people that we've worked with, and you have the logos. This is going to help companies everywhere be like, oh, this is really cool. People will forward your URL on to friends, to HR people, to senior managers. And then when they go to check you out, they're not going to have to search like through pages to be like, I don't quite understand what this is. Someone will have told them, you should check this woman out. She's doing really cool stuff. And I think that, in 3 weeks from now, we should do an online class with everyone. They're going to go to your homepage and see that all.
Cool. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think I've kind of just been in this like holding space of like, is this the direction I should go in? Is this, is this it? And it does feel right. I will admit, like some of the workshops, especially like the craft workshops, were just like kind of like safety things. I don't think they were like forcing me to grow in the way that I want to be growing. And I actually see a lot of these virtual opportunities allowing me to grow in new ways that I haven't before.
That's amazing. I love that. So I want to push you to keep doing these virtual, yet still very interactive.
Yeah.
It's so important for people's lives. And I think, you getting out there through a better designed website is going to allow you to help many, many more people.
Can I ask you a question connected to that, but it wasn't in my initial form?
Of course.
I'm now also just grappling with pricing of virtual things, because it's I'm not coming in person to do these things. So
yeah,
how can that, I feel like I've these virtual company happy hours I've been doing for $100, and right. How do I make these virtual things financially sustainable?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's probably not $100. Even whether you're in Colorado or Nebraska or California, that is not enough. So here's the thing. What would you normally charge? You have to think about the entire business model for when things go back to normal, right? And you don't want to get into a position of you lowering your costs so much that when you go back to then doing these in-person ones, which should be more expensive, people are like, oh, but wait a minute. We did it for only $100 and now you want to charge $500? Seems a little weird. So first of all, you need to figure out what your pricing is, what your normal pricing would be for in-person events. Then what you need to do, and a friend of mine is doing this very well right now. Johnny Cupcakes has a apparel line, but he, like me, makes a lot of his income by speaking around the country and doing these in-person talks for corporations. So what he put out a little while ago on Instagram was really, really smart. And I want to share this information for everyone out there listening. He basically did a little marketing campaign on Instagram where, you scrolled through and it was really cute, great design. And it basically told the story of hey, do you and your company need something different, someone creative? Do you think your employees need to be inspired right now? Hear about my entrepreneurial journey, which is what he always talks about. So he's doing exactly what he did before, but then he's saying, because there's no travel costs, there's no hotel accommodations, and it's less of my personal time, it's a lot cheaper. So you should act now, contact me, and register for me to be a speaker. That is, I think, exactly what you need to do. You should have the pricing, not the pricing for what you would normally do, but you should work with these companies and say, when you're negotiating with them, you have already known what the price is for in-person normal events. So figure out what you can do virtually and then say, hey, just so you know, this is the actual cost of this, but because I don't have to travel and it's easy and we're all going to be able to log on, you basically save 50%. And then that's, but they also know, what you're showing them is that you understand business and you understand the value of $1. They're a business. They're trying to hire you. That shows them that you are someone who isn't just an arts and crafts person. You understand numbers and you're saying, hey, this used to be $500. I would love to be able to do it in person with you in the future, but right now it's only $250 for 1 hour because I don't have travel costs. So you're saving money. And then as soon as people hear that, they're like, oh, wait a minute, it's on discount. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I'm making a note of that.
Yeah. So I want you to push on your website that you do all of these virtual things, because right now, all of the other stuff, all of the other offerings, I believe, are mute. To be perfectly honest, they're going to bring in such small amounts of money for you that I think it's just frustrating. And you really have to make a conscious decision to decide to go with 1 or 2 things instead of 5.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the other place that I really see major potential for you is your shop, but dun, 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 not in its current state.
Yeah. I know the shop is a hot mess, but let's dive into it.
Let's dive into it. So when I look at your navigation, like I've said so many times on this podcast, when I look at your navigation, it does not make sense to me. So you've got offerings, which again, I think is a confusing word. That is now going to be virtual. You're going to brand it as something, right?
Yes.
whatever that is. You've got the blog, then you've got shop, happenings, which is very similar to offerings, about, and then connect. So what I want you to do is the things that make you money, those are the things that should be the first navigation buttons.
Okay.
So for you, that will be these virtual connections or virtual classes, workshops, and then shop. Your blog should be all the way to the right.
Okay.
People read left, right. And so the most important place is on the very left-hand side. So let's click shop and we're going to see what we get. We are going to look at your shop page, and here's the thing. In a pre-COVID world, all of this stuff would have been great at markets and fairs, right? Because it's you that sells them. Someone comes up to your booth, and I guarantee you, I already know, you would be smiling. Your energy would be so great that people would be like, I don't know who this woman is, but I want to support her. Like, I'm just going to walk over to her. You know, like, you've got those fabulous earrings on, the red glasses, the red lipstick, like, it sets you apart. And so in person, I know that this stuff would be great and you'd actually make money. And what I'm looking at is like handmade zines, and they're really great ideas, like how to repot a plant, and then zines for kids in quarantine that are filled with, you know, inspiration and activities. So I love the idea of these things. However, I'm going to give you this advice. To me, it is way too crafty and DIY.
Okay.
And it's not that there's not a world for that. It's actually the world that I was born into. So I come from very DIY roots. But we have to think about the time and the fact that nothing is in person anymore. You're not going to be able to charm and convince people to buy this and talk to them, and they'll be like, oh my God, this is so cool. And they'll be flipping through it, and then they purchase. When you come to a website, stuff like this does, to me, and, you know, granted, this is just my personal taste, it does start to look a little bit crafty, which is, again, fine, because a bunch of people are going to connect with this. But it's going to be hard for you to make money. And I want you to be able to sustain yourself through 2020 to get to 2021. That's the goal.
Yes.
What sparked my imagination when I read about you, and you, like me, can do 1,000 different things. Like, someone would say, here's a bale of straw. I want you to make like furniture. I want you to make kids for toys. I want you to figure out how to, you know, you would be able to do that. But I think that what we need to do is transfer those skills into, and this is the big drum roll moment because I'm so excited about this. I think you need to be doing boxes.
Okay.
It's going to take a little bit more money and faith from you up front, but I really believe that is going to up the professionalism that people see when they go to the website. And I think that it's actually going to be more fun and connect more with people. So what I mean by that is, I envision people coming to your website, going to the shop page, and seeing like an offering of boxes. And what I mean when I say that is, I want someone to be able to like buy a plant box. I want someone to be able to buy something for their kids, a big box where you've got 3 pairs of safety kid scissors, you've got embroidery thread for friendship bracelets, and the zine that shows them how to make the bracelets. You've got, like all the different things that kids and adults could be doing, sit down and make something. That should all the materials and tools should be in a box.
Like a kit.
Yes, like a kit. And then the DIY instructions are there in a zine, or it's like a great looking, and I know your aesthetic, you're going to do it great. It's going to look great. It's going to say, like, visit this URL to watch the video and watch and make something with me. And you could utilize YouTube or IGTV to do that too. So there are a number of different ways that you can show people the instructions, but I know that with your creativity, you'll handle that no problem. It's more about this box idea, which I don't know if you'd ever thought of before or not.
I haven't thought about it. I mean, I have for other places that I've worked for. I should back up. I definitely have thought about it for like museums and shops and creative spaces that I've worked for, but I've never thought about doing it for Betterish per se.
Well, I believe that your brand should be that you are a leader and an expert in the DIY craft creativity movement, and that means you are creating the whole kit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so again, it is some upfront cost because you have to buy those materials.
Yes.
But you buy them wholesale.
Yes. Yeah.
and you put these boxes together. We've thought about it at Unique Markets. We've thought about doing stuff like this, but like we have too many things. We have to focus. Same as you. But I think like if there was a friendship bracelet kit, like if you think about this too, people aren't leaving their homes as much. People aren't going to stores as much. So even buying the materials for their kids to do projects this summer, like none of that's happening. So the idea that you have already put in like 10 different colors of the embroidery floss, you've got this, or maybe it's a, what am I trying to say? Like needle and thread,
embroidery.
Yes, like embroidery or cross stitch.
Yeah.
Maybe you use your great illustration skills to do some like sayings or just some great illustrations of fun things. You screen print those or print those on fabric, send them the fabric, the thread, the needles, and that round wooden thing to hold it. And like, that's a kit right there.
Right. I guess I have been thinking about kits, but actually in a totally different way in terms of thinking more about like my impact was I was thinking about doing kits specifically for like universities. So I wanted to create like a Betterish ambassador program at college universities that would be doing more of like the social bridging work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know I've been thinking about it like in that sense, but I haven't like thought about it in like an everyday person shopping on my website sense.
Yeah. Well, that's because none of your past life is going to exist for a little while.
Yeah.
So, and which is one of your original questions, like, do I keep programming for the normal things that I do? Do I move forward? You move forward, but in the future. So now I think it's really pushing these virtual workshops.
Okay.
And I love that so much. The idea that you get to, because, there's no barriers to like who you could touch. There are people in Canada who could hire you. There are people in Mexico that could hire you. There are companies all over the world that potentially you're saying like, look, I'm this expert. I have this background. This is what I do. And now during the pandemic, I am going to do this for you and your company, and I'm going to bring you joy, and people are going to feel invigorated and creative. And yeah. So I want you to do that. And then I want you to build out this shop, because I really think that you could. I don't see a lot of people doing stuff like that. And I think that it makes sense for you to do it because you have so many different talents that I know you'd be able to come up with like 5 amazing boxes, if not 10.
Okay. And I guess my other question is around just like mailing the boxes, like figuring out that like that's just like a whole world that I've like never, like I'm so DIY. Like I did a crowdfunding campaign last year, and for all my rewards, I literally was like hand stamping everything. Like I'm so DIY.
Right. Well, that's fine. And in fact, I'm sure a lot of listeners are like, "Whoop, I've done the same thing." Don't worry about it. This is the time to educate yourself. Like this could be the thing where you're like, oh, wow, now I know all about working with UPS or FedEx or like USPS if you wanted. It's pretty easy setting all that stuff up. You just have to take the half a day to research everything, set up the accounts, and then start to understand how to do it. And I'm going to throw this out there because I just had to call like a customer service 1-800 number the other day. And my husband was laughing at me. He was like, did I just hear you asking someone like if you should sell the stocks or not. And I was like, yeah. So basically I like have started investing in stocks, but I actually don't know what I'm doing. So I needed to call the customer service because I was on the app and I was like, I don't know how to sell. Like, I don't actually know how to get rid of something. And so they had to take me through the steps and it was great. But that's what customer service is for, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you should do. It's not intimidating. Uline.com, if you're not familiar with it, but maybe you are, but the fact that you're writing it down means that you're probably not.
I mean, I've heard of, I've heard, I'm like, you mean keep going.
Yeah, they're like the warehouse, like they just sell everything. So
Yeah.
that's where you'd be able to find potentially like the boxes that you would use. And where you would find the stuffing stuff that would go in them, like, because you need to start researching all of that. You probably want to find some sort of like stickers to like on the package or rubber stamp. You probably would be great designing and getting a rubber stamp made that would be like your logo, like the Betterish logo, and maybe the address, the return address.
I already have it, but yes.
Hey, there you go. You've already got it. So you just need to research, and it's definitely going to take a couple days total of your time to sit down and research just the shipping, the packaging, and then probably another couple days to like brainstorm on a wall with pieces of paper, like what different boxes could be, and maybe ask your friends, or, ask a few families that like, hey, so you have kids, you're going to be stuck at home this summer. Like, what would compel, like, does this box do it? Would you buy any of these? And kind of try to get some information from people and then move forward.
Okay, so some Betterish boxes.
Yes. Oh, the Betterish box. It has a ring to it already. It really does. And I mean, listen, like we're ready to promote. Like, well, I'm excited because every guest this season, I feel like I also want to do like follow-ups and, be able to put on the Unique Markets Instagram, like, hey, this is Betterish. This is this company that we helped on our podcast, like create these products, and you should order them for this September, or, like it would be very exciting to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be keeping you posted. So stay tuned.
Yeah. So those were some of like the things that I really wanted to mention, was that I love how creative you are, and that it is confusing because you do have two different, like me, like I have a business, but I also do consulting and talking. So there is an expertise within you that is valuable. And then there's also an expertise that you can apply to a product that people can purchase that's valuable, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, this has like been very like clarifying, because like I said, I think I've just been in this like holding space of like, should I go like 100% all in on this like virtual thing? And I'm feeling like that is definitely the route I should be going right now. And like I said, the other stuff, I can't even say I was like that excited about anymore. It was just like a comfort zone thing.
Of course. So you were probably like, it was making you some money. So then you're like, okay, I'll keep doing it. This is what we as human beings do. We just kind of like go along with it, even though like it at some point starts to feel like, I don't know if I'm inspired by this anymore, but you just keep doing it because it's easy and it's putting money in your bank account. But I think that you are going to pivot and you're going to see a huge uptake in people hiring you, and then the shop, if you do the shop.
Should I be investing in like marketing for some of these, like all these virtual things have just been like word of mouth, or I posted on social media. Should I be like paying to like even just like boost a post around my virtual offerings?
Right. So here's the thing. I don't love boosted posts. I just don't think they're as impactful and effective. But online marketing and spending some dollars, absolutely. So what I want to see, and I'm going to share the screen right now because I'm on your Instagram account. So what I would love to see is you've got a lot of great photography. I love all the photography. It's very colorful and very like, it just exudes joy and happiness and creativity. It's great. But I think in order to be taken seriously. What you need to do is implement a social media strategy. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to do because we only have a few minutes left. So get ready.
Okay, got my pen ready. Here we go.
So what you need to do is think strategically about your grid and how it fits together. And I hate that this is what Instagram is, but it is, and it's a game. They've set the stage and we have to play by the rules. Otherwise it doesn't serve us, right?
Right.
So when people hear about you and they go to @Betterish and they scroll really quickly, again, you have 1.5 seconds about to make an impression. It looks great for me personally as someone who knows you and really, really likes you and wants to support you. To someone in a corporate setting, which I just want to point out, those people are very different from you and I.
Yep.
I used to be one. I think you did too. Their viewpoint is very different. So what they need to see, and I'm not saying that you have to change. What I'm saying is you just need to tweak a few little things to be playing the game a little bit better. I don't want you to change who you are or what it is that you're putting out into the world. You're in fact going to be helping people understand what you do and what you put out into the world. So the use of quotes, I like that occasionally when I scroll, I see you doing quotes. What I mean by creating a kind of style guide and a social media strategy is I want you to collect like 50 quotes, and that's not hard. 50 quotes that you love that inspire creativity, encourage people, help people get through their day, bring joy to people, whoever you want, whether it's from like Cardi B or the Pope. Like it could, because it could be from anyone, but these quotes that somehow connect with you. And I want you to create all of them in a style that is the same. So they all look the same, whether that's that you're hand lettering them and they're always in that kind of a peach background, which just seems to be your colorway, peach and navy blue.
Yes.
Or maybe it's that you just use an app like WordSwag and you're typing the quotes in, but you're always using a background that you've designed, like a pattern. Whatever it is, they all need to look the same because there's consistency there and people like consistency.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, and it just ups it makes people understand that you are a brand and that you actually know what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
The time to create a tone and a look and a color and a type and all of that stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason I want you to do 50 is because I want you to do all the hard work up front in like one day, take 8 hours and do this. And then you're able to like every 6 or 7 posts, do a quote.
Okay.
This is regular. Every 6 posts like clockwork, there's a quote, or every 8, whatever you want that number to be. But that then when people are scrolling the feed, they see the same things over and over again. And they're like, oh, I like this. Oh, what is this? Who is this person?
Right.
So that needs to happen. But then also what you need to do is I think that you need to start posting photos that get across the fact that you are an expert and that you do these virtual workshops and that you also have these boxes. And so when you think about photography, it does mean that you're going to have to create some assets, which means you're going to have to take photos of things, including yourself.
Yeah.
You already do that, which is great. You're just going to need to plan some new photo shoots. So plan photo shoots where you're making sure to get like at least 20 great different photos of yourself. Because again, I'm going to ask you that every 7 or 8 posts, you post a photo of yourself. So people are going to consistently see you. They're going to consistently see inspirational, fun quotes. And then in between those things, I think you need to have photography that, again, kind of gives across the idea of what you're doing. So if it's a bird's eye view or a top-down photo, as I would normally refer to it, of, a desk with watercolors on it, but a blank page, like that's a great post for you because you're like, let me help you and your company like fill pages with creativity and color. Think think of things that way. Like, how can you show, or you find, and I love Upsplash, which is a website that features free, royalty-free, really beautiful photography from photographers all around the world who have decided to, provide like 20 free photos. You could find really boring, terrible photos of like boardrooms and like post those, but put your illustration style on top of it, saying like, like, don't be boring, be creative. Or I just want you to be more creative, but with intention.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Showing more of like what I'm actually doing.
Yes, exactly. And when you show that intention in your feed with the types of colors that people see within the photography over and over again, and the quotes, fun photos of you, it starts to become something that people look forward to. Because again, like, consistency is a real thing. It's psychological. Martha Stewart, I always say this, Martha Stewart has a very like cold, hard personality. She should have never been popular on daytime TV, but consistency. You put someone on the air every single day, 5 days a week at the same time, and slowly audiences are like, oh my God, I love this woman. It's consistency that does that.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like I played with consistency at one point, like maybe, like last year. And then I just like, I couldn't keep to it. It's like my creative, like,
I know,
inside was like,
It is hard. I get it. And like, on my personal Instagram, like, I do not follow any of the rules, and I would probably have hundreds of thousands of followers right now if I did that. But personally, I'm like, I can't do it. But business, like, you've got to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to, like, that reinforcement is really good for me to hear. So,
and if you ever get to that point again where you're having like a creative block and you're just like, oh my God, the last thing I want to do is think about this Instagram account, I highly encourage everyone out there to just like go to Upwork and find a freelance social media manager. Or I'm sure you yourself know so many amazing graphic designers and web designers. Hire someone. We do this at Unique all the time. We have an amazing designer, Katie, and she's based in Ohio. Like, she's not in Los Angeles. And, I'll say like, we need 25 social media posts. Like, and then she'll get them done. She turns them in, and then we have a backlog. So when we just get like pressured, or we don't have time, or we're just sick of doing social media, we take from the ones that she's designed for us.
That's awesome.
So, you can always hire out and help other creatives thrive too.
Totally. Yeah. And I feel like I know a lot of amazing people who are good at that. So
yeah, there you go. Well, it's been so good talking with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and sharing your wisdom. This has been amazing.
Oh, good. Well, we are going to be watching you. Zach and I, we both want to learn something from you. So whatever boxes you create, we're ready.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been really great to talk with you. I'm like so intrigued with the background. I'm like, what are all those things on?
I didn't even show you this, but that's another story for another day. Well, this was so fun. I appreciate it so much. And I really appreciate you just, letting me apply and choosing me. So thank you.
Of course. Well, we will be in touch.
Awesome. Have a great day, guys.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Hey, wait, before you go, calling all small business owners, nonprofit pioneers, and savvy side hustlers. If you're looking for the smarter way to market your idea, small business, or cause online, Constant Contact has your back. Whether you're just getting started and need a simple logo maker, or easy way to build your website or online store, or if you're ready to step up your online marketing game with customizable email campaigns, social media, and search marketing tools, Constant Contact has everything you need to achieve online marketing success, all in one place. Paired with practical advice from their award-winning team of marketing experts at every step of the way, Constant Contact helps you achieve real results fast. For an exclusive deal, visit constantcontact.com/unique to get started today.